All right, they got another one. Now, in 2024, my Spotify has been in all type of shambles. I saw a dude the other day wearing a Bad Boy shirt. I almost checked him. I said, nigga, this is the wrong time for you to have that shirt on. You can't be listening to no classic Bad Boy records right now. Now we got the Dream on the chopping block. I grew up on the Dream music. We used to go to the skating ring listening to this nigga. Shorty is a 10 in the falsetto. Baby. And now we got a young lady saying the dream turned into a nightmare. Let's get into this, man. So, songwriter, who is known not just for his songs, but writing hits for Beyonce, Justin Bieber, Rihanna, and the list goes on. He is being sued for some very heinous allegations. We gonna get into it right now. Superstar music producer The Dream is being sued by an aspiring songwriter who claims he used promises of career advancement to coerce her into an abusive, violent, and manipulative relationship filled with physical assaults, violent sexual encounters, and horrific psychological manipulation. Shanaz Mangro, a singer-songwriter from the Netherlands, who goes by the stage name Shani Monroe, filed suit in federal court in California on Tuesday, accusing The Dream, also known as Terrius Gestil Diamant, Demon, I don't know. She accused him of sex trafficking, battery, and rape, okay? I gotta use code words, all right? Now, the reason I used this article because they actually had a quote from the victim, and she said, "Choosing to speak out about the trauma I survived has been one of the most difficult decisions of my life, but ultimately what The Dream did to me has made it impossible to live the life I envision for myself and pursue my goals as a singer and songwriter," Mangro said in a statement. "Ultimately, my silence has become too painful, and I realized that I need to tell my story to heal." Also, I think it's easy for a lot of these people to come to the stage because, let's be honest, Cassie showed that these women don't have to be afraid of these powerful men. And if Cassie can stand up to Diddy, who's a billionaire, I think a lot of these victims are saying, I don't have to be scared of somebody like The Dream. Now, here's another reason I chose this article, because it's important to note that The Dream has responded to these claims. So he didn't do that thing where it's like, oh, no statement. He said the claims are untrue and defamatory, all right? He said, "I oppose all forms of harassment and have always strived to help people realize their career goals." He said, "As someone committed to making a positive impact on my fellow artists and the world at large, I am deeply offended and saddened by these accusations," all right? So we did get a statement from The Dream. Now, here's a kind of quick list of some of the people that The Dream has, worked with: Rihanna, Britney Spears, Mariah Carey, Justin Bieber, and Kanye West, and I'm sure plenty more. But let's be honest, he's most known for working with Beyonce, and they said he's worked with Beyonce on 6 albums, okay? And referred to her as his musical soulmate. Now, also, with The Dream being caught up, it has a lot of people saying it's only a matter of time before Jay-Z and Beyonce get caught up in this whirlwind of lawsuits. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's continue. Now, according to the lawsuit, The Dream reached out to the girl via social media in 2014 when she was 23 years old and working in the U.S. on a visa. The suit claims she sent him samples of her music, and he promised her a recording contract with a major label if she came to Atlanta to work with him. He allegedly sweetened the pot by promising to sponsor her visa, write her a blockbuster song, and to get her a gig opening for Beyonce's next tour. So if this is true, he was rolling out the red carpet. Not only a job, a visa, but you gonna open up for Beyonce's next tour, and I'm assuming that was cap. Because I never heard of this girl before this lawsuit, and I think I would have heard about some girl opening up for Beyonce, right? And just for reference, this is Shani Monroe. When you look up her images, she doesn't have a lot of social media out there. She hasn't been on Twitter for years. As far as I can see, she might have some social media, but when you search her real name, you don't really see anything. And when you search up her stage name, this is the few things that come up, a couple of pictures, but she's not really out there like that. Now, getting back to the article, The Dream has allegedly offered her all of these things. She flew out, but there was a catch. According to the complaint, The Dream lured Mangro into a prolonged nightmare in which he controlled her housing, transportation, and food expenses and kept near constant track of her movements. He also allegedly forced her into drinking excessive amounts of alcohol by holding her head back and pouring it down her throat. Wow. Most horrifically, the complaint alleges that The Dream raped Monroe and forced her into rough sex in which he choked her, sometimes to the edge of losing consciousness, and verbally berated her, forcing her to praise him and declare her loyalty to him. He also allegedly refused to wear a condom and became enraged when he found out she was on birth control. She alleged he recorded their sexual acts and used the existence of these recordings to threaten her into silence. Now, it says The Dream was previously arrested for allegedly punching and kicking his 8-month pregnant girlfriend and threatening to take her out if she went to the police. Prosecutors dropped the charges after saying they could not prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, if you ask me, it's important to note the two females that we usually attach to The Dream other than Beyonce, but the women he's actually been with, is Nivea and Christina Milian. Now, when it comes to Nivea, for a long time, it looked like Dream was this sad puppy who could just never get over Nivea. And to a lot of people back in the day, they used to say he took out a lot of his, I guess you can say, his emotional distress over Nivea on Christina Milian. Because I remember when him and Christina Milian got divorced, because I think he was actually married to Christina Milian. I think he was engaged to Nivea, okay? If I'm wrong about that, my bad. I'm just going off memory. But I remember specifically Christina Milian caught him cheating. And she described their marriage as hell multiple times. Now, neither of these women said anything about Dream being physical from my recollection, but I do know that Christina Milian was very vocal about how their marriage ended badly because of cheating. And so she was saying The Dream was basically a hoe, okay? But when it comes to Nivea, we have heard Nivea speak of Dream in kind of like a positive light. I remember recently, because Nivea also was with Lil Wayne, and that's another thing. Back in the day, it used to be this thing about, Lil Wayne and The Dream fighting over Nivea, because basically Nivea had them niggas almost wrapped around her finger. Let's just be honest. And in the past, Nivea has spoke highly of The Dream, at least recently. I remember when she started being on TV, she was like, oh, The Dream is supporting me, Lil Wayne is supporting me. So that's all I kind of got on his past relationships that everybody knows. But that's pretty much, what he's being sued for, okay? Now, let's think about this story real quick. This woman was from another country trying to get into the industry. Let's be honest, when we talk about these guys in power using their influence to get these women into these just really horrific positions, it usually starts off like this. But imagine how bad it can get for somebody who not even from the country. Because usually a lot of girls, they're somewhat mindful if they're from the States because they've heard the stories before. But imagine a girl who not even from America, so she probably doesn't have a huge reference for how nasty the industry is. Because if you from the States, at least when you get into the industry, you can kind of start to see red flags and you can, kind of know, okay, this situation might lead me to some shit that I heard about. You feel me? If you from another country, your chances of being able to recognize those red flags are probably less than somebody who's from America. And I do notice this with a lot of girls. They can kind of come to America and fit in with the culture. They can get their hair done. They can pick up the language. But when you listen to them and how they talk about the culture, especially the men and the relationships, you can tell there's a little bit of a naive aspect there because it's like, girl, you don't know shit about American niggas. And you can tell that they shocked when they deal with an American guy when it's like, oh my God, he this, he that. And a girl from America be like, yeah, that's how a lot of niggas are, okay? But bringing it back to this situation, yeah, I can see a girl out of the country being very naive to a situation like this that's being described, and also feeling like this guy is your only ticket to success, to stardom, to fame, and he got that Jay-Z and Beyonce cosign, right? Because I would imagine all the success that the Dream has had with Beyonce and other artists, but let's be honest, his relationship with Beyonce is the one that has been most, kind of televised, put out there, going viral, the one that we all know, like, okay, Dream made most of his fortune or his money from really working with Beyonce. I think Beyonce opened up all the doors for him. And imagine the nigga who is responsible for about 6 albums with Beyonce. Maybe not the whole album, but just a lot of the music that a lot of people are like, okay, that's why Beyonce is Beyonce. If that nigga say, I can do something for you, of course, females are going to believe it, whether you from the States or not. And I think that's why that's dangerous. And when it comes to people trying to drag Beyonce and Jay-Z into this, number one, I guess your first question is, was Beyonce aware of this type of behavior from the Dream? But also, when you hear Diddy go down, when you see Diddy go down, when you see Russell Simmons go down, even though he ain't got caught up yet, but his name has been besmirched, and you say, who's next? Your compass, your arrow, it always points to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now, if you ask me, I think most people feel more negatively about Jay-Z than Beyonce, but because they're married, they're attached to the hip. And I just think every time there's a very crazy story about Jay-Z, you have a lot of people just counting down the days for Jay-Z. Like, when is Jay-Z gonna get caught up? There was recently a story about an alleged baby mama of his getting offed, okay? And a lot of people thought that was the moment, like, okay, all right, they about to get into Jay-Z. And we saw that kind of pass by. And of course, when these situations happen, everybody keeps referencing the Cat Williams interview. And once again, I'm going to ask y'all, was Cat right? And do you think any of this stuff with the Dream is going to rub off on Jay-Z and Beyonce? Very crazy story. Unfortunately, it's a very believable story because we've seen this type of nasty behavior be done in the industry for years. Just imagine if everybody could talk going all the way back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Jesus. Let me know what y'all think about this. Like the video and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Peace. Hey, nigga, donate. Hit the super chat. Scan the PayPal. Hit the Cash App. Thank you. Have a blessed day.